Hey everyone, Josh here. In this video, I want to share the 3 biggest surprises that I experienced after I retired from full-time pastoral ministry. In my previous video, I shared why I retired from pastoral ministry. So this video is what I experienced afterwards. 3 things that I had no idea about, and a lot of that was because I was born and raised in the church. I was a church baby. It was a heritage that I have been, will continue to be thankful for. But I'd never really experienced life outside of the church. And there's some things that you don't really know until you're outside the church bubble, and that was my life. So here's the first biggest surprise, and it still shocks me. And please don't take this the wrong way if you're currently, neck deep in your church and you love it. But for me, my first biggest surprise was how little I actually missed church. Now, not church in the sense of the people and the relationships, but church in the sense of the programs and the services and the committee meetings and making sure there was enough people in the pews so that there was enough people, paying money into the plate so that the staff could be paid and the building could be paid and that everyone could be happy at the exact same time. And it was a hamster wheel for me. And that was the part that I didn't miss. I didn't miss that at all. I didn't miss the services nearly as much as I thought I would, and I was the guy that was preaching, and I loved to preach. The second biggest surprise is how crazy we look, not just on the inside, but on the outside. Now, I've been on the inside, and I know that we are dysfunctional, and we're all sinners saved by grace, and we have our set of issues. But for some reason, I thought we did a pretty decent job of keeping it all in-house and that no one on the outside knew how crazy we were on the outside. Well, man, I was wrong. As soon as I got outside the church and started talking with people and just hearing their stories and then seeing the church not from the inside but from the outside about what people were saying about it on social media and the latest pastor of the week that was resigning for the latest scandal of the week, it just broke my heart of how crazy we look on the outside, not just the inside. That was the second biggest surprise. The third biggest surprise is that I believe that there's actually more Christians outside the church than inside the church, and that just blows my mind. I know, and if you've been involved in church at all, that the church has seen better days. Churches are struggling, attendance is down, congregations are getting older, the younger generation is walking away at a cataclysmic rate. But it's one thing to know that in theory, but then to go outside and see it and talk to people, many of whom will never go back to church because the one church they experienced was so toxic or so dysfunctional that in their mind, that's their version of Christianity and they don't want anything to do with it. But there's also just as many people who love Jesus and they know how it's supposed to be, but their church is still so toxic and so dysfunctional that if that's the only option that they have, then they're just not going to engage in church. And so there are a lot of people who are passionately pursuing Jesus. They're interested in spirituality. They're searching for truth. They're searching for salvation, but they know the church doesn't have it. And so that was the biggest surprise of how many people who are following Jesus outside the church. And I would argue that there's more following outside than inside. So if you've walked away from church or if you've been outside the church bubble for a while, what are some of the biggest takeaways that you experienced or the biggest surprises that you experienced once you stepped away and once you stepped back from church? Would love to hear it in the comments. And if you haven't already got it, I would love to send you a free digital copy of my resource, A New Way to Follow Jesus, 4 simple practices to transform your life. You can get it by going to my website, www.thejesus.family/new, and you can get it for free. Thanks so much.